Good morning and welcome to my craft desk. Today we're making one of these gorgeous little trifold journals and I'll show you every step to create one of these. So they open and close with a little closure here, just like this. And each of these has two pockets on the inside. So they have a pocket here, quite substantial, and also this is a pocket. And this pocket just flips open like that as well. And they have collage on the inside and also on the outside. But they're only made from children's book pages. So I've just upcycled some cheap basic supplies. I've added a dictionary page, so another old book page on the back here. And there's lots of scope on these for adding your own supplies and using your own flair and your own style. I think these would be great for putting in an Etsy shop if that's the sort of thing that you do. Or of course they would be fantastic for just giving away as a gift. They're easy to make, they're not too complex. And although I have sewed the pocket in, you don't have to. You could add this with glue and then everything here doesn't need any sewing. I've got process steps as usual on my channel. I like to make things really easy and use basic supplies. So if basic supplies and easy is good for you, hit that subscribe button. And you can either take a screenshot now of this or check it out on Pinterest at Joey DeFee. And if you're looking for my process steps from other videos, I will be putting a date of the video upload on the particular page to make it easy for you to find them. So the first thing we need to do is find two book pages, one for the exterior of this trifold and the second one, this smaller one, is going to work as an inner pocket. So let's start by just pulling a couple of pages out. Let's do the big one first. So this is a children's book and it has really nice sturdy pages, and I wanted to make really good use of the fact that the paper is really thick. I say quite thick, it's not cardstock, but it's not a flimsy book page. And let me just tell you as well the size of this book page, because I think that makes a difference to this finished item. So this is just over 21 centimetres wide by 27 centimetres in height. And the reason I think this size works quite well is when it's folded, which we're going to do like this way, we end up with something that looks a bit like a traveller's notebook size or a wallet, and I just feel it has that vintage connotation with the shape and size. I think it works really well. So I was quite happy with this size of book page, but honestly any page will work. The second thing we want is a smaller page, and I've chosen something, it's not vintage, it's just an oldish book. You can see I've been using this quite a lot already. It's got much thinner pages. These are just over 13 centimetres by just over 20. Let's take one of those out. And the reason that this page works quite well with my children's book page is when it sits inside as a pocket, so it's going to go this way here, the height of this is just a bit less than the width of my larger book page, which just means I don't need to do any trimming on this page, but again, any book page will do. So having sourced our book pages, let's just set one of them aside, and we'll do the folding first to create the backing of this little trifold. It is indeed super quick and easy. So turn it landscape wise, and we'll start by creating the flap on the right hand side. I think this is the way to do it without having to measure, but getting it right each time. So what you want to do is fold your best estimate of a decent flap and make a good crease. And by a decent flap, I'm estimating about 4.5 centimetres. So I don't think it needs to be done using a ruler, which does speed things up, but you want enough so that when you make this flap sit under the closure, it's just got enough capacity to sit underneath, and also it gives us enough space here to do some really pretty collage. Having created my right hand flap, I'm going to turn it upright, open that up, and then fold the bottom up almost as far as the crease, not quite as far as the crease. It just gives me a little bit of give in case I fill this with lots of things. So let's make that crease. How easy is this so far? And that gives us the bare bones of the back of the trifold. What I do want to do is take a couple of corners off, and I'm going to remember to do it now, which means I can fold that over, just hold the corners together and clip off a fairly substantial proportion of the corner. I like quite a nice trim off there, quite a nice clip. Again, it's just the aesthetic I'm looking for. And this is the bare bones done of the back that we're now going to add things to and fill and just collage and have a lot of fun. The next thing we're going to do is make one of these inner pockets. So using that second piece of book page, I'm going to create something that will just be quite sturdy and give us lots of capacity on the left hand side here to put lovely things in. So I need to take my piece of paper, and I'm not going to tear it, I want all of the strength I can have. I'm going to fold some of it back. So whatever you think you don't need, given the dimensions of your own trifold, just fold back so that there is some space on the right hand side here between the edge and the crease. It just gives you space to tuck things in because we're going to put a pocket here. And I will glue, let's get this out of the way, we'll just fold this spare flap back and glue it down. So the glue that's under trial at the moment, let's have a go with that. Just a little bit of glue. Now if you're going to sew this, less glue is definitely better. You can also decorate these in any way you want to. You don't have to do what I've done, of course, you don't. But I just wanted to show you a new idea using some vellum that I've been printing recently. So this is going to go just tucked in on the left-hand side, like this, here. So what we'll do is a little bit of decoration on here. So what I've been doing is playing with vellum, printing on vellum. And I've printed out, glued lightly, then sewed around some of these beautiful images. I've done one with a little mushroom there. There you can see some botanicals. Where there's a picture or an image on the book page, I've retained that and just shifted the image down. So these are ready to go into a whole load of my little trifolds, and they come from some of these vellums. So I don't want the large one. I've been working with, let me show you with a piece of white paper. I've been working with this set of images, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They're Victoria Designs. So as I say, I've got a video that came out recently showing you my own 5-step process for printing on vellum. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. I'm just going to take one of these and show you what I do to add it to the little interior pocket. So I tear them down with a ruler. Really easy, it's quite delicate. This is 53 GSM vellum that I bought on Amazon, and I had a pack of 50. It's my first pack of vellum to play with. So I bought a pack of 50 for £5.99, which I believe is about $8 US at the moment. Shall we have? Let's pick that one. Oops. What I would do is take my image and with just a small amount of glue put it around the edges. I'm avoiding in the middle just in case it shows a bit. Now this is the point where I say if you don't have a sewing machine, you can just glue something on, or you could just use any of your craft supplies to decorate the pocket in whatever way you see fit. So I put that on there, and then what I've done is just, let's find one, take my sewing machine with some pale thread and a small running stitch, and I've just gone around that so that it's really firmly attached, but it also adds a little bit of the aesthetic. A couple of other thoughts for how you might want to decorate one of these inner pockets. So if you have any fabric pens or paints, you could do what I've been doing, which having a play at stamping and then painting some flowers on an old pillowcase. And I think what I might do is just cut those out and add them to the inner pocket. I think that would work well in a botanical style. And the other thing that might work well is any snippets you've got. So I made this the other day. It's just one of these often seen snippets. What I did was just grab a load of my neutral bits and in a sort of haphazard, with a bit of method way, I've just gone along and with a zigzag stitch joined them up, and I didn't half go through a whole load of my little bits of scraps. So you could add whatever you like to these inner pockets. What I do is I take my outer pocket, my outer of my trifold, and at this point I sew it in. So to avoid time, I have got one that I've prepared earlier. The reason I sew it in at this stage is, and I did try this, I prefer the outer covering up the sewing, but if you like seeing the sewing and you do want to sew, you can defer adding the pocket until after you've done the collage on the outside. But as I say, at this stage what I would do is take my exterior, just use a bit of glue to put that in place, and then sew around this on 3 sides to create your inner pocket. And this is what it looks like with the pocket all sewn in. So what we're going to do is move on with our points. So we've done step 3. We're going to collage the inside of the trifold, which is just with whatever papers, whatever book pages you have, whatever you want. What I'm going to use is just a really simple dictionary page. It's not even vintage paper, but I do like it because I just like the font and the variety of dark text and paler text. So take my glue again, and this is going to go on the right hand side here, and it doesn't even meet or go under the pocket, so it's going to go almost as far as this left hand crease in this occasion. It just happens to be where it finishes. Now, is this going to be too tall? Yeah, I'm going to need to just clip a bit off the bottom. So let's get some glue on this. I think you could use wet glue or dry glue for this. Quite enjoying this glue stick. It's another Amazon purchase. As I say, I'm going to be doing a trial of some glues because I thought it was about time. So let's get that on the right hand side. Try and do it without any ripples or creases. Not that it really matters. I suppose if you're selling it in Etsy, and I think these would work well in Etsy, I think you want it as flat as possible. So I've got my right hand piece on beautifully there. We're going to collage on the back, so what I will do is trim off some of this down here, the excess. You could fold it back and glue it on. Just trim that. And what I'm going to do is just fold these over. It's a bit more strength and protection for the corners. And as I say, we are going to collage on the back here, so it will cover up the ugliness of these little fold over pieces. And I'll just give it a fold where the crease line was, just to reintroduce that so we can see it and know what we're working with. So now what I'll do is add a piece of paper down here. Let me show you on one I've done. So having covered up some of that children's book page, I'm going to just add something under here that tucks underneath the pocket on the left hand side to just join it all together when you open up and look. So I've pulled a few pages out and I'm trying to use up some of my pieces of paper, my prints that I print and don't always use. So I've just grabbed a collection here. That's really nice, isn't it? We'll go with the botanical theme. Aren't they gorgeous colours? I have them building up. I don't know about you. These are digital prints. Yum yum. Well, that's beautiful. That might go on the front. Right, maybe I could use this one. And I'm just going to tuck it under so I get that sense of continuity on the back. So I'm just going to decide what is... I'm not going to waste too much under here, what I'm going to actually pull off. So I want that to glue just to the left of this crease so it's easy to fold still. And I'm going to take some off the bottom. I don't want my collage on the inside to be too predictable. I don't want to just cover the whole thing. I want to see a bit of that children's book page still peeping out so we know what this is made from. It just tells the story. I think that would be fantastic on there. So I will, let's go for that. I think what I'll do is just tear a bit off there. And as I say, I'm going to avoid the right hand crease just to keep this easy to fold down here. I've got a piece here. I will use those strips for something, maybe in that snippet, and that can be glued on. So that can go in now. And as I say, anything at all in your box of scraps and bits and bobs will be great for just creating the collage on the inside of one of these. Try to get it neat and tidy. I think I'll just use the text to help me line that up. It may not be. How about there? What do you think? Have I got it right? I've made quite a few forms of trifolds before. I did one with a big bird. I've done one with lots of flips and flaps and envelopes that was a lot of fun. I thought this one would be good because it's a bit quicker, less complex, more simple. Just still an awful lot of fun to make. Let's just reintroduce that crease. And at this point what I want to do is just do something about all of these straight edges. So I'm going to pull on one or two bits of scrap and washi to just hide some of those lines. This is my box of favourite washes, possibly favourite washes. What I've found has happened is they've basically spread on my desk and it's become a bit more difficult to do anything. So I've put them in a bit of a compartment so they don't run around on my desk and cause trouble. And it makes it easier to reach for the ones that I'm currently using most of all. And I have a bit of a penchant for washi with a bit of foil in. I don't know why, that has just start to use these things and they become necessities. I don't know how that happens and how we decided we lived without them, but it just did. So I'm just going over some of the edges there. Let's have, this is a great one. It's in that vintage colour. It's got adverts on, nice and wide, and I tend to pull off lots of raggedy, tagglety shapes. Maybe we'll have, I don't want it on its side, we'll have a bit more of that down here. Now some of this might get covered up when we add that other pocket on the inside, but I'll still add it. There we go. Maybe a tiny bit more. This is the one that makes me think of English country gardens and country houses. It's very much a vintage colour. It's that deep sage green. I think that would work well on here. So I'm just going to have a little bit there. Right, enough of the washi. So at this stage, take a process check. We have done collage on the inside of the trifold on step 4. What we're going to do is make a simple pocket and add it using washi so that it's got a bit of a flip-flap ability about it. So what we're going to do is add something like this, and it's incredibly quick, so it's just a simple pocket. So I'm going to take another old book page and we'll add that on here. The book that I'm going to use to make this little inner pocket, so one like this, is from this Reader's Digest Nature Lovers Library. It's called Field Guide to the Wildflowers of Britain. So it's quite rectangular this way, and on every page you get all sorts of absolutely stunning images. They're not particularly ones that you want to fussy cut. You could do, I don't think I would, but I think they're perfect for making pockets because the picture, look, the picture is typically on one side, and that means we can make our pockets in a really easy way and get most of the image. And I also like how vibrant and green these images are. Shall we use this one or this one? Which do you like? See, there's one on every side. It's hard to choose. Let's go for this. And for making this pocket, you can see the height will be perfect within the interior of this trifold. I'll just, let's move that out of the way, maybe fold one end in about 1 centimetre, fold the other end over to meet it. So I'm giving myself a bit of a flap, and then I'm going to open it up. It's just my traditional way of making pockets. Fold that up, and I'm going to do some snips, but my way of doing this is to retain as much of the paper as possible because that makes the pocket stronger. If we turn it over, it's easier to see. Just take off a tiny slice and a piece of pie from where that crease is on the bottom flap, and we end up with a little corner, a little rectangle here, or a square. I'm going to take that out but go beyond the lines. What I've just done is trim in a way that makes it easy for the pocket to come together. What I do is look for the side with the flap and glue down the lower flap that's furthest away. So glue on there and glue that down, and that's the bit that some people cut off. I keep and just glue it down. Then fold your vertical flap down, put a bit of glue at the bottom, fold up your bottom flap, and then glue up and across on those flaps, fold it over and bring it together. And we have something that's got a lovely little opening. It's the right size, and for this particular project I'm going to reach for my corner rounder and just give it a bit of eloquence on the corners, like that. And that's going to go on here. You can choose wherever you want it. I think I'll put it down at the bottom, and I'm going to add it with, again, some very strong washi. So I want this to flap to the right, so I'm going to put my washi down here. Just take a piece off. It's really powerful stick on this particular washi. This is from the Washi Tape shop, and if you check out my video description box you might find a discount code. That can go on there, and then I'll hold it back and just try to get this lined up so that it's nice and neat down here. So I'm holding back the washi so it doesn't touch the paper until I want it to, so that I can position that in a neat way, and then just fold it back and just press down. That's the way I do it to get it flush and neat. If you wanted to, you could put another piece of washi here. What I do like to do, another addiction I've acquired recently, is using some of these really thin ones just as a bit of extra. Really easy to use. I just put something there, tear it off, add another. And for decoration, I'm just going to add a little bit of something on my image over here to break up another line. I'll put it underneath that text. And at this point we are good and ready to move on to step 6, which is collaging the exterior panels, including the flap. Now this is definitely the moment for indulging your paper obsession. So I'm going to play with one of those pieces I saw earlier, and I'm going to bring into play some fantastic music paper. So I'll tear down a piece, I'll start with the front I think, and I'll take something to get some of that image on I think. Now these are A4 digital prints, this particular one, and it's just a bit smaller than this front compartment of the Trifold, which is absolutely fine because again what I want to do, I want it to show some of that raggledy-taggledy. I want to tell the story that this is junk journaling, that we've made it from an old book page. So I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. It changes its aesthetic when we go all the way to the edge. And it's also nice, but for this particular project, that's just not what I want to do. I do want to go over the sewing. As I said, I tried it by allowing the sewing to show, and I decided I preferred it without. I think for speed, I'll use my liquid glue. Just get that on. You could, of course, do lots of small pieces of collage. You could do anything you like on all of the back here. I suppose just using larger pieces helps with speed. So that is just gorgeous on there. I really like that. And we'll come back and add a few more details. But let's get the main pieces on. So I like to have something different on the middle here. So what have we done? So I think something like this. On this one I've added a little bit of lace, some stamping, some extra scraps. Just adorable. So I've got a very tatty piece of music paper here. I think I will start by ripping it down. There's two pieces. Tear that down. So thank you very much, my friend Rosie, for donating this. Having had a declutter, I always let my friends know not to get rid of anything like this. Gratefully received. Love it. Oh, look at that. It's like butter. So this is going to go in the middle here. So again, let me just see how much we want. Go to about there. Tear that down. It's an absolute pleasure collaging with music paper, don't you think? What's your most favourite pattern or paper to decorate with? Leave us a comment down below and let's have a little chat. What is it that is top of your list and has the most chance of inducing a bout of hoardability? It probably is this music paper, but I have quite a bit of it, so I'm trying to use what I have as opposed to just hoarding forever. Just like that. That's going to go. I can still see some of the text from this children's book page, which I think is really nice. It's a bold font, and I do think that helps. I don't want too much of that book page behind showing because it is quite modern, and as you can see, that's not what I'm going for here. I've torn off the ends because they were blank pieces. In fact, I've been using these when I make my snippet. So that is going to go that way up in the middle. What I'll do is I'll get these two main pieces on, I'll do the flap, and then I'll come back and add a little bit of extra embellishment on the front and the back, because I really do think it adds something rather than just adding one plain piece of paper. See how it's coming together? Love it. And then I'll go for just covering up this flap. I think for that I'll find my little scrap box. So this got a sort out the other day. Let's see what we've got in here. I don't want to repeat too much stuff, so I'm not adding more music paper. Oh, I've got some paper I've covered with acrylic paint. That was fun. Let's just see what we can do with this lot. Makes me feel good when I use up my scraps. So that would work well as a base. I think I'll fold that over. I'm going to cover the whole of the flap so I can cover up these little bits that we folded over. And the easiest way that I know is to add it and then trim around it. This is becoming a favourite of mine, this glue stick, because it's not as sticky as Prit, so it doesn't have that tendency to leave some of itself and excess on the project. So I think the easiest thing to do is trim around this. Like that. But I don't want something that's just one plain piece. I'm going to do a little bit, oops, of decorating on here. So what should we have? Let's just go back to some of those pieces and do a bit of embellishment. I won't take too long thinking about it. Yes, this was a piece of paper that I dunked in an old plastic sweet tub that I'd added acrylic paint to that has mica in it, just to experiment. I'm really enjoying experimenting at the moment, which is how those flowers came about that I showed you earlier, the fabric flowers. I think I'll do the trusty technique of under and over. I took a bit under there. I think little bits of scrap always look better when they're in a little cluster together rather than just spread too thinly around a project. That's good. I think I will try and find a couple of small labels that go with the colour theme, and I'm going to go right to the edge of the flap, and I'm going to break up some of this with some very thinly torn washi. Again, not thinking too much and really just playing like that. Maybe a bit over there. Trim that excess off. And then I said I would just go back and add a bit more of something on here to bring it together. So I'll have, it's my Amazon packing paper. Apologies for the noise. Embellished with a bit of gold, which I absolutely love. Just adds a bit of decadence, which we like, which is slightly ironic given the fact that we are junk journaling, don't you think? Just adorable. And a bit more of cute label on here. Again, I'm not spending too long making decisions. Don't want to cover up too much of the music because it's just beautiful. Bit more of my washi. Just bring it together. That's something else I've been doing is getting my stamps out. You see, it's a great project for reintroducing yourself to some of those. I think that needs a different one. Some of those items that maybe haven't had as much love for a while. That can go down there. A bit of foil, and I think I'm just going to break this up with one more label too. Just something that says hello. There's an intentional decision here, just to surprise the eye. And the last thing we need to do as step 7 is add a closure, and then we can fill this with as much paper goodness as we want. So the closure is just simply a circle with a little pin in it. We just need to find the centre and enough space towards that direction so that it opens and closes nicely. So for that, take my ruler, find the midpoint, and then make a little mark. And I'm going to give it about 7 or so millimetres out, which should give me enough space. So with a bit of improvisation, because I can't find my needle, I'm going to take an unwound safety pin, and with my hands behind and either side of that hole, just make a little bit of a hole. And grab my little tub of circles and one of my black brads, because I think these little ones, again from Amazon, work very well. Go for a neutral coloured circle. That needs a hole in it too. Trifold journals from old book pages. I hope you really enjoy making yours. And don't forget to follow me on Pinterest for the free process steps and on Instagram for more behind the scenes footage of my desk. I hope to see you soon.